Hello and welcome to another episode of the Daily Chat Podcast, where we talk about all things awesome and nerdy. We've been away for a couple of weeks because we had scheduling issues, but I wasn't going to miss this one. Joining me is a guy we haven't seen on the show in a little while, Hayden Levisay. Welcome back, Hayden.
Thank you, Kyle. Pumped to be here.
Yeah, so we're going to be sitting here. We're going to be doing our review of what might be the second most anticipated superhero movie of the year, Deadpool 2. And yeah, Hayden and I, we both saw it this on opening weekend, and I gotta say, it was kind of what I was expected, but in a good way. I thought it was a very enjoyable movie. I don't know about you, Hayden, but
yeah, no, me too. I really enjoyed it. I think it was for the most part exactly what I expected. The only thing that for me I did not expect at all was what happens with the X-Force team.
Oh, by the way. Before we get further into it, sorry to cut you off. Spoilers. Mm-hmm. Spoilers. We are going to be talking spoilers. And yes, that was hilarious. That was hilarious. For me, the only complaint I'd really have about this movie, the biggest one I would say, is the first act was a little choppy, I felt. Just a little bit. It felt rushed almost, just because it felt like it almost as if it was acknowledging, yeah, we're kind of just doing the same thing we did in the first movie. This is all a big flashback, which worked fine in the first movie because they spread it out, but they crammed the whole flashback into the first 30 minutes or whatever. But once they get into the prison and once Josh Brolin shows up and starts kicking ass, then the movie hits a groove and it's just off to the races from there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't. The cool thing was there wasn't any point where I got bored or slowed down. It felt like the pace, it went the whole time, and I think the first one might be a little bit better, but it's hard. I mean, how do you?
The thing is, with the first movie, they caught lightning in a bottle. Yeah, they really did. I mean, here was my thing when it comes to the whole R-rated superhero movie thing. Up until Deadpool was, we needed a character like Deadpool to actually make a successful a truly successful R-rated movie, because I know there were others, there were the Blade movies, which were moderately successful, and then there was also the Kick-Ass franchise, which, depending on who you ask, either love it or hate it. But the point is, both the movies were not box office successes. Right. I had a feeling Deadpool was going to do it just because he's a popular enough character. Yeah. Enough people know who he is, and enough people know people who saw the trailers, hey, who's that? And, people like me were like, you need to see this movie. Right. It's going to be amazing. So, but yeah, if anything, though, this is because one thing a lot of my friends and I and just people in general have in common when it comes to sequels is just going to live up to the first one.
Right.
And I'm personally kind of with you. I'm not going to go as far as to say it tops or even matches the first one, but it is definitely a worthy sequel.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It is definitely
totally agree.
Even on its own, it's a pretty solid movie. Mm-hmm. So, but the things I definitely want to say about this movie is there's one part of me that says there were almost too many references to other superhero things, but at the same time, I'm like, there weren't enough.
See, I'm with you said that was the one thing I took away. I was like, okay, it's funny, but I get it. You're making it felt like maybe a little too many, in my opinion, jokes at all the other superheroes out there. Or franchises, movies, whatever. But, I mean, they were still funny. But I thought maybe sometimes less is more.
I think my two favorites, though, were the scene where they made a callback to the studio not giving them enough money for good X-Men, for popular X-Men.
I did really enjoy that.
That was the actual cast, too, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I also loved the fact how they all had this look on their face where it's just we're not getting involved. Yeah. We're not doing this. No, we are not doing this.
The cameos are awesome. And the Brad Pitt.
I thought that was Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt. Yeah.
What was he doing in that again? I can't remember.
The
vanishing guy. I was like, wait. It was I turned
it's so quick.
I saw that with my girlfriend. I looked at her. I was like, was that Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
That wasn't Brad Pitt, was it? In the fact, and that kind of goes back to what we were just mentioning a little bit earlier before the spoiler warning with the
Yeah.
With the that just makes it even funnier.
I know.
Because at first I was thinking, most of the other characters that they got for X-Force, I wasn't too familiar with any of the other actors other than Terry Crews.
Right.
And I'm just sitting there laughing my head off because it's like they got Terry Crews to be in this movie for like 5 minutes just to have him die.
I know.
And now it's even funnier because you get Brad Pitt, who's possibly like the most A-list of all A-list actors, to be in this movie for 30 seconds. No, not even, like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays the Invisible Man, so...
Well, I gotta say, especially because we know there's an X-Force movie coming down the pipeline, I really thought, which is a credit
that makes it
to
even
them.
Funnier.
It makes it that much funnier. I thought, okay, this is gonna set up the X-Force movie, and then no, they all just die.
Every one of them except for Domino.
Yeah.
And that brings me into my second favorite joke of the movie, or not my. This is actually my other favorite joke. I shouldn't say my second favorite because this is actually my personal favorite. When Deadpool says the line of, "What kind of superpower is luck?" It just sounds like something created by a lazy comic book creator who can't draw feet, which is a direct stab at Rob Liefeld, the guy who created Cable, Domino, and Deadpool.
Nice.
So that's one of those kind of jokes that I just love. So anything where they're just like, fuck the source material.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I liked Domino too.
Oh, I thought she was great.
Yeah.
I thought she was really good. And I thought the way they used her was really good.
Yeah.
And her action sequences were pretty dope. And yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the whole film. And the Juggernaut. I
didn't see that one come. I was like, what big? It's like I'm going through the list in my head of like all the super like really big characters that like they could be using. I'm like, which guy is this? Could this be? I was thinking it couldn't be Juggernaut because they already used Juggernaut in X3, and I love how they just put in Juggernaut to totally retcon the BS that was X3 further.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
totally.
with just like that one little line. It's like, oh, so you're actually Charles Xavier's brother? Yes. Yeah. Yes, I am. Like I've always been.
And, I wonder, so go forward for a second, though. So is his girl is alive then? Right? I mean,
I think she is.
That's the idea behind...
I think she is, because it's just poking fun at the whole idea of just how ridiculously stupid comic books are.
Well, because here's the other thing. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, right? So for everyone who's seen it, obviously, he, in the post scenes, goes back in time to save his girl. But if he can do that, then Cable can go back.
Cable doesn't know though that the time machine's fixed. That's that's supposed to be the whole thing. I just love it though, where he's like, 11, fix that. And she just has, and Negasonic Teenage Warhead just has a look on her face of, what have we done?
Yeah. I love the bits between Deadpool and those two. Some funny stuff there.
Yeah, what was the other character's name? I can't remember how to pronounce it.
I'm blanking on.
Hold on, what's IMDb? Which, while we're looking this up, I can't believe I haven't read the whole article yet, but this one from EpicStream.com. The title reads, Deadpool 2 expected to beat Infinity War at the box office during its opening weekend. Which, that would actually surprise me.
So, here's the thing. Are they saying, though, like, compared to Avengers opening weekend, or just this weekend?
Well, this weekend is opening weekend. And
for Deadpool, but I mean...
That's what I mean. That Avengers might be having a field day at the box office. I haven't read it, but now that the first installment of Marvel's two-part blah, 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 according to Box, Deadpool might not be able to beat Infinity War's massive opening weekend. Okay, no, that's what it means. That I could see, because Infinity War's been out for like 3 weeks now. Mm-hmm. So it's basically, if you haven't already seen it, what the hell's wrong with you? Because that might be the best movie of the year.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm shocked I've only seen the movie once. So
I've seen it twice.
Would you want to go a third time?
I would. I want to go see it. They have the movie. Some of the there's one in Burbank where you sit in the seats and the seats move and it shoots like air and stuff.
Oh my god! Like one of those other. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So that I can actually see. That makes more sense to me because Deadpool 2 was definitely a highly anticipated movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the first movie, highest grossing R-rated movie of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, people were probably wondering like how they're going to follow up. And like we've been saying, I think they followed it up nicely.
Yeah, I think they definitely followed up very nicely.
I think I heard, though, that, what's his face, Ryan Reynolds just hasn't even thought about the, what do you call it, the next
like
Deadpool, the third movie.
Yeah, I was looking at some interviews because so they're definitely working on an X-Force. So
right.
We know, but that's gonna, apparently, according to the interviews I saw, it's not gonna just be so Deadpool focused.
Right.
But again, in interviewing, I saw an interview with Ryan Reynolds. I saw he talks about how it's still his dream to try to get Hugh Jackman to come back and play Wolverine with him. And like he's like set on it. He's like, it's up to Hugh if I can ever convince you to do it.
Please, Hugh Jackman.
Oh, please.
Please, Hugh Jackman.
Please.
I know you said, and Logan is going to be such a hard swan song to top. It was such a beautiful swan song for that character. It really was. But God damn it, nobody's ready to see a new Wolverine yet. Okay.
And to see Wolverine with, that Hugh Jackman's Wolverine with this Deadpool.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be fucking awesome.
It would be just like in the comic books, too.
Yeah.
It would be great.
Yeah.
And throwing Cable, too. Why not?
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
And maybe we could actually see Wolverine, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in the Wolverine costume, finally.
I mean, I'd be okay with it. I won't lie to you. The one thing that some people give the X-Men movies flack for, with the exception of Deadpool, is the fact that, they don't give the main characters the more traditional costumes. But I kind of understood that, at least from the perspective of, nobody on the Redskins, everybody wears the same colored jersey.
Right.
So I kind of got that with all the black leather. Plus, it was 2001.
Yeah, at the time, I get it at the time, but it's like, now I think they could get away with it, and like, or even if they
just an update or just an updated version of the costume in some way, shape, or form, which is Marvel has done such a bang up job with it in the MCU movies. Like, for example, I loved how the first act of Captain America, the first Avenger, or not the first act, but the first half of it, is just them saying, in a visual way, saying, we're not going to have him wear this costume, the original Captain America costume, in battle, because it would look stupid.
Right.
So I'm happy that they went with it. We're going to give him a helmet, a GI helmet, but keep this color scheme.
Yeah.
By all means, keep the color scheme, or even better yet, what Hawkeye looks like in the comic books.
Yeah.
Jeremy Renner shooting bows and arrows while fighting a CGI, a really scary looking CGI, Ultron would look a little stupid in all that purple with a giant H on his hat,
I agree.
I mean, certain characters, obviously, you need to keep the costume the same, like Spider-Man, you can't really deviate too much from the norm. Deadpool, which is just basically Spider-Man's costume.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Certain other characters are Iron Man, but Iron Man, there's always wiggle room to mess around because he's always tinkering. Batman, you need to keep the costume the same. Superman, you need to keep the costume the same. But Wolverine, it'd be nice.
Yeah.
It'd be nice, but it doesn't, I'd be okay with it if they just went with the style, the big points for the eyes, but if they went all black.
Yeah,
I'd be okay with that.
Well, even if you've seen when Wolverine's in the X-Force and they have the black and silver kind of costume.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
That could be really cool as well.
I think it would actually fit more. That kind of a look would fit more in with X-Force than the X-Men, because now that it's been, Deadpool can't be PG-13 ever.
Right.
I think it's going to be very tough now after that move, after Logan, to put Wolverine back in a PG-13 role.
Right.
Though it could be doable. I'm not saying it isn't doable.
Right.
It's just, where was I going with this? It's just, the whole point of X-Force is they're assassins. So, yeah, that whole costume is kind of scary, especially when it's in all black.
Yeah, totally.
So, versus the blue and yellow.
Totally.
So, yeah, I could definitely see them doing that. That'd be great.
I'm really looking forward to seeing the real, and I'm curious, now that they've killed off or
did they bring them back? Or
Deadpool,
here's the thing. I know Deadpool saved Pete.
Right.
He saved, or Paul, whatever the guy's name was. But
did he save the other guy?
Yeah. I don't think he did. They didn't show it. So I'm going to say no.
I'm with you. I think no.
I'm going to say no.
I will tell you, I will be bummed if they set up X-Force, which I'm kind of thinking they might be doing, to be basically that team we saw at the end. Some of those X-Men with Deadpool and Cable. Like, obviously, I'm good. Deadpool and Cable, great. But, like, I want a real, like, X-Force, not just using some of the X-Men.
I mean, I still like the whole dynamic between Colossus and Deadpool. I think it's hysterical.
It's funny.
It's hilarious. And obviously, like, I like Nigga Sonic Teenage Warhead, and we never got the name of her girlfriend, did we? What was that again?
I cannot remember. But she was hysterical.
She was hysterical.
The little bits she had were great.
And she was only in it, and she was, like, barely in it, too.
Exactly.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could say I remember the character's name, but... oh, by the way, you know what I love most about this movie? It means that Josh Brolin has now been in as many movies where he's used time travel to get what he wants.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love it if they made a much bigger Thanos joke about that, but Reynolds, the guys who wrote Deadpool, probably knew nothing about what was going to happen with
in
Infinity War. Which, from what I hear, because I have some friends that work for Disney, what they basically say is the two things that they are the most secretive about, from 2 to 1 actually, is they're incredibly secretive about what happens in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
They're even more secretive about what happens with Star Wars.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Well, did you hear about what they did when they were filming The Force Awakens?
No.
So what I heard they did was every day everybody got a new copy of the script, and the script was printed on red paper, and the ink was printed in pink or something like that, or like a slightly different shade of red. So that way, like, if somebody were to try and say make a photocopy of it, it wouldn't really work, because as you make copies of things, they degrade, and, like, you know, the red on red text just wouldn't work. And then at the end of every single day, they threw the copies of the script in a shredder.
That's some intense stuff.
That is intense stuff.
That is intense.
And I can only imagine, and that's just what happened while you were on set. I can only imagine what it would be like trying to get. I mean, it's probably no different. Show me your ID.
Right.
But still. But anyway, back to. I want to say that one of my bigger concerns about this movie was I was wondering how they were going to top the ad campaign of the first one, believe it or not, because the first ad campaign was amazing.
Yeah,
it fit the character so perfectly well, and part of me wants to say that they didn't top the ad campaign, although it was still really good. It's just, I think part of it was because Deadpool 1 was released on Valentine's Day, at a time in which there's really no actual competition for a movie like that. This movie was sandwiched in between Infinity War and a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
So for all I know, the ad campaign was actually 1,000,000 times better. I just didn't notice it because I was getting Infinity War, Star Wars, Deadpool, some other movie coming out, like Isle of Dog, like everything. So it was still a good ad. Did you see? I think the highlight of the ad campaign was definitely when they. Did you see what they did at Walmart?
I don't think I saw the Walmart one.
They put Deadpool on the box cover of, like, everything.
Oh, really?
Of all the movies. All the movies. Like, they photoshopped him in, like...
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, and how about that Celine Dion?
That was a great...
Well, even I love the opening where they're, like, mimicking, like, the James Bond openings, you know? I was like, I was laughing from the get-go. That was awesome. I forgot about that.
You see, that's the thing I feel like... Don't get me wrong, I mean, I get it, it's a comic book movie, and they're obviously going to make fun of comic book tropes a lot, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind, like, Deadpool is just, even in the comic books, he himself is just an infinite pool of just pop culture riffing and knowledge. Like, it would be nice if I saw him do more parodies or make fun of other movies that weren't just superhero movies.
I totally agree.
Like, I mean, you know, for example, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was funny, but he looks at Dawn at one point and calls her Black Widow. He has no superpowers. He's like, just give me a bow and arrow, and I'm as worthless as Hawkeye.
Right.
Like, funny stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it's like the only other than the James Bond stuff was what was the big one that they did? The only other one was like Terminator.
Oh, we wouldn't.
He's like Deadpool's what's his face? Colossus says something to the effect of like, "Come with me if you want to live," and they both look at him like, "Dude, seriously, you're ripping off Terminator?"
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because I mean, there were other things though too that I did appreciate where they made fun of the very specific stuff though, like not only just the Rob Liefeld joke, but the whole Martha thing.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
How they're just like shitting on the DCEU. throughout that whole movie.
Oh, yeah, they really did. But it was good. I mean, yeah, the Martha thing was hysterical because, I mean, I feel like all of us were talking about that after,
After, yeah. Like, it's such a stupid thing. Like, why does the name Martha snap Batman out of it?
Right.
Well, I mean, I got it, but I just still think it was stupid.
I agree.
It doesn't matter how you slice it. It's just, really, your moms have the same name. And it's also just like, one of my friends put it too. It's like, I don't refer to my mom by her first name. Like, I wouldn't be like, save Beth. I'd be like, no, save my mom.
Yeah, that's
true.
Save
my mom.
That's true. That's a great point.
Yeah. You bastard. What was another great thing? Was there anything about this movie that you just weren't a fan of at all? And that's going to be tough to say.
No, I don't. I don't think so. I mean, I really enjoyed everything about it. I really didn't have any, major critiques or any problems. I think I liked it. I mean, I really, really enjoyed the whole film. I don't know. How about you?
Like I said, I think my only real major critique would be is I wasn't too crazy about the first act for some reason. I just feel like it was too much of. They were just spending too much time rehashing what they did in the first movie, just with the whole flashback thing. But once he actually blows himself up with the tank and everything, I mean, don't get me wrong, the little Easter eggs and everything where he's like, fuck Wolverine and everything like that, that stuff at the beginning was hilarious. It was funny, but it's like, I was kind of like, are we just going to do the first movie again?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden Cable shows up and you're like, okay, we're not. Okay, we're good. Josh Brolin actually crushed it, I feel, as Cable.
Totally, yeah.
Definitely made me more interested in the character of Cable because anytime in the comic books I've ever read Cable, I've just been like, Because Cable just feels like a very large byproduct of the era he was created in, and that was the early 90s, which was just, let's make everybody moody and give them a really, really big gun.
Yeah.
Whereas Deadpool still does, but he makes fun of it, so it gets away with it, but... Yeah, I mean, that gun was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, that thing was awesome.
It was awesome. My favorite was, there was the whole Spinal Tap reference in it, where the knob only went to 11. So, Josh Brolin was good in it. Good, I actually liked the whole thing where it was just like, why does he want to kill this kid? And you're like, oh, well, that makes sense, because he grows up to be like Hitler.
Yeah, totally, yeah. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed the whole movie. I thought it was a good story. Even some movies that I love, or some superhero movies, there's some parts where I'm kind of like, okay, I'm getting a little bored here. Let's get back to the fun stuff.
Kind of like some of the filler movies in the MCU.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Ant-Man, but I could understand why some people weren't too crazy about it. Just because, like, it's another basic origin story, but at the same time, that movie came out, like, right after we had Avengers, Age of Ultron, so that movie was just meant to flesh out the universe more, so...
Right.
And besides, at its core, it's really a family comedy more than a superhero movie, so I personally like Ant-Man, but, like,
I like Ant-Man as well, yeah.
But I've spoken with some people, and they kind of give me that argument, and I see where they're coming from, is what I'm trying to say.
I think with this one there was not a moment where my attention got lost. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. From the beginning of the movie to the end, I was having fun the whole time, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, so did I. I really had fun with it. The post-credit scene, that might be my favorite post-credit scene ever, where he's cleaning up the timelines, especially when he shoots not Deadpool in the head. From X-Men Origins Wolverine. Which, For a hot second, I thought, wait a minute, did they really just get Hugh Jackman to? And I was like, oh, and I got a better look at it. It's like, oh no, that's just a clip from the movie especially when they don't show Wolverine's face.
Yeah.
After the claws unsheath, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's just.
Wow.
No.
And I love the part where he goes back and it's Ryan Reynolds with the Green Lantern script. He's like, this is gonna change my life. Boom!
You're welcome, Canada. Yeah, no, that was great. I mean, did you also notice that when he signed the Wheaties box that had Hugh Jackman's face on it, he signed it Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah.
The thing about Deadpool 1 is I don't even know all the Easter eggs. I know I could go online and easy. I want to know how many Easter eggs they threw into this one.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's so cool because it's so different than other superhero movies out there, and like it seems like Ryan Reynolds is able to just do whatever he wants, which is awesome.
Well, that's the beauty of Deadpool is even in the comic books, there are definitely Deadpool story arcs that are better than others. It's just even the worst Deadpool story arc, you're like, well, at least I was entertained.
Right.
At least Deadpool was funny. That's always like the worst thing you can say about it.
Totally.
But yeah, that's kind of always been Deadpool's thing is how he just that's what's the whole thing with the X-Force. It's like, I'm going to assemble a super team because that's what every other movie's doing nowadays. We're coming...
Yeah.
Infinity War just came out. Justice League came out last year. I need a fucking team. And then team dies.
And I love that. I thought that was just genius because, had no idea that was going to happen.
Oh, I didn't expect that to happen at all. Like you said, I was expecting, is this going to be the start of X-Force?
Yeah.
Nope. No, it is not. It is just going to be the start of Deadpool and Domino.
Yep.
That is it.
Exactly.
I hope we see more Domino in the next movie. Which they will, because she's usually a prevalent part of X-Force, so we'll probably see her. I don't know what else to say about this movie, but other than, because it was... You see, this is the problem with reviewing good movies. Is there's usually not a lot to talk about other than, this was really good. Yeah, this was really good. Yeah, really good. I don't know what else to say about it other than, it's a solid hit. I don't know. I guess you want to just start wrapping it up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, right? I mean, it's not like one of those movies where we can just, we're sitting here breaking apart every piece, the piece we don't like. I think we both really enjoyed this
even
one.
Even the parts I don't like, I'm still all right. It wasn't awful. It just was
Totally.
And it's so I want to say, what would you give this on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, I'd give it a solid 9.
Solid 9? I mean, I think the first one is more of a 9. This one's more like an 8 3/4. But still, and I'm the bigger Deadpool fan, so what does that tell you? But fuck it, it's a 9. It's just because I've talked with other people about it, and the thing, some people that I've spoken with, and I get why people don't like it, is there are too many bad superhero movies out there, and sadly with the DCEU, I have to agree with that, and the fact that the X-Men universe is just so inconsistent that it's just a real shame that the only company that is truly pumping out quality work day in and day out is Marvel, and I'd really like to see more of it from DC.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
But it seems like they're finally finding their niche with Deadpool, so I definitely want to see more of him in this. But, I guess that's going to do it for us, though, because we both like the movie too much. We can't really shit on it, so...
This is true.
So, Hayden, before we get going, why don't you said you've got 2 projects you wanted to talk about. Why don't you, before we officially wrap things up, why don't you go into it?
Cool. Thanks, Kyle. Yeah. So right now, we're just on Sunday, the last episode of this web series that I wrote and acted in is going to be coming out on YouTube. It's a mockumentary web series about community pool lifeguards, comedy, a lot of fun. Season 1 has 5 episodes, and the 5th ep will be airing on Sunday, wrapping our Season 1. And then, actually on Monday, we'll be releasing the first 2 episodes of this other web series that we did a while ago that obviously you're familiar with. You have a character that you play, the Bird Watcher.
The Bird Watcher.
In this one, and it's
called... If that role doesn't win me an Emmy, dude, I'm done with this business, man.
I hear you, man. And yeah, that one's going to be called Snatch and Grab. And that's also going to be on YouTube. You can find the pool on Sia Habe Films on YouTube. And Snatch and Grab will be under Built This City Productions on YouTube.
Okay, yeah, and I'll provide links to those in the bottom. And just so we're clear, the dates you were talking about specifically are May, 20th? Or 21st?
May 20th will be the final episode of The Pool. The other episodes are already out. You can find those and watch those.
Yeah.
And then May 21st, we will debut Snatch and Grab.
All right. I don't think I'll be able to have the link for Snatch and Grab because I need to get this episode out, but I'll definitely throw in a link for The Pool because I've watched it. Actually, it's pretty funny, so I like it a lot. So you got a solid cast there. Hayden takes on the lead role, and he's great in it. So
thank you.
You guys should definitely check it out. All right, and just to recap, Hayden and I are both giving Deadpool 2 a 9 out of 10. that's going to do it for us. Hayden, thank you very much for being here.
Absolutely. Always fun. Thank you for having me, Kyle.
No problem. And as always, follow me on Instagram and Snapchat at Kyle Daley Comedy. And we are also on Twitter for the Daily Chat Podcast Twitter handle as well. And for both Instagram and Twitter, it's Kyle Daley Comedy. All right, everybody. Hayden, thanks again. Bye.
Well, that was fun. Who's for Chinese?